birthday party. And that goes out to our guest interviewer, Dwayne Omowali, and all those out there who's celebrating their birthday today. That was Phase 2 Pan Groove Steel Orchestra with a Len Boogsy Sharp arrangement of Birthday Party. So happy birthday to all you birthday folks out there, as well as to Dwayne. Dwayne, before we get to our guest in the spotlight, Miss Alexandra Ducksworth, I know you had some posts on your Facebook page, Restoring the African Mind, about children and mental health, and tell our listeners a little something about, some of the concerns you have in those areas.
Well, my main concern is, just from working with children, I've noticed, children especially are, very vulnerable to emotional stress. So a lot of times you see these, traits in, children that are dealing with the stress that aren't getting the adequate attention or care they might need. So, my concern is we need to pay more attention to whatever issues our children are dealing with and, address those issues adequately.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think? How are we ignoring them now, or we think it's something else, or we just not paying close attention to our children? And the reason I'm asking you this, I have a granddaughter. She's going to be 5 in a couple of months. She'll be going to transitioning from pre-K to kindergarten. And her mom tells me there's some little conflict there, a little emotional situations, So it's not that they're behaving badly, which they might be, but you got to look at it more carefully. That could be a big step for some. Yes. New friends, new environment, and so on. So is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yes, and a lot of times the children might be behaving badly, but it's not necessarily because they're bad children. As you said, it could be other underlying things that are going on. I know it's very difficult for parents because you have work and other things that you have to deal with. So a lot of times you don't even have the time to really give your child that attention that they might need. But especially for young children, there's a lot of stress that goes with certain transitions. Meeting new friends, going to new school. Even school itself could be very stressful on children. Dealing with tests and homework and all of that. And I don't think adults really give attention, the proper attention that they should to the certain stresses that children might be dealing with.
So we need to take a deep breath and really spend a little more time talking to and listening to our children.
Yes,
we know it's stressful, but that's one of the good things we could do for them.
Listening is very important too, because especially as adults, we have a tendency to dictate to children rather than sometimes you need to sit back and listen.
Yes, very true. For somebody who is not a parent yet, and I know your mom is here and your brother is here in the studio with us, I like your perspective as a young person, to be observant of that, especially since you have been teaching kids. You make this observation. Well, we have your guest, I believe, on the line, but after a word from one of our sponsors.
Experienced healthcare professionals know end-stage illness means it's time for hospice. They choose Vitas Healthcare because during the middle of the night or over a holiday weekend, Vitas is always available. Available to improve quality of life at the end of life. Available to provide your patients with the right care at the right time in the right place. Refer today. Call 888-VITAS-80 or go to vitas.com. That's VITAS.com. First licensed in 1980.
Choose Healthcare.
All right. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Okay, so our first question for this interview is, I know you're very interested in African history and culture. How did you first become interested in these things?
Well, both of my parents are deep into history, and I learned a lot of my history at home. We all know how vague African American history, let alone African history, can be in public schools. So they made sure I had a strong foundation to stand on when it came to that. Plus, at one point in time, I was also interested in a lot of ancient Egyptology. And I wanted at one point to study archaeology. So basically studying, the untold stories of people in that continent.
Okay, and why do you think it's important for African Americans to study their history and to embrace their culture?
Many, due to the miseducation in schools and homes, don't know the depth of their people's history. And I truly feel this is a contributing factor to African Americans' detriment in this country. I've witnessed over the years talking to people of different ages, and when I tell them something they didn't know, there's a spark in them that I literally can see, and it's a spark that they can basically do anything. So why? Is because hundreds of their ancestors did the impossible. So I believe that it's always important to know where you've come from in order to know where you're going. So, and like Marcus Garvey's famous quote is, people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. It's important for us to know those things.
Yeah, so when you began studying the history, did you feel that spark that you were talking about?
Yes, I felt a connection because they don't really talk about it that much in schools, and it's almost as if it's a hidden gem that we come across when you finally understand things and you finally learn new things about your history and your people. It's really a hidden gem, and you start to question, why are they hiding this history and these great things and these great people, and you realize the power in those people. So yes, I felt a big spark when I started learning those things.
Okay, do you think the media plays a role in hiding our history and disconnecting us from our African roots?
Yes, yes, they do. It's because I've yet to see a mainstream, if you want to call it that, African narrative on our televisions. There's dozens of shows on the Old West. There's dozens of shows and movies about slavery, Vikings, kings and queens of Euro descent, but not one on the narrative of events that took place before slavery. It places like this fictitious thought in everyone's minds that nothing happened until the enslavement of Africans, nor was there anything accomplished before that. It erases hundreds and thousands of years of history by millions of people who are the root of almost everything from like arithmetic, astrology, medicine, architecture, government, democracy. The list goes on.
Okay, and I know another topic that you're very passionate about is mental health in the Black community. Do you believe that gets the attention that it deserves?
Simply put, no. There have been some improvements, thanks to some beautiful people who have been using their social platforms to bring awareness to the problems as well as healing, whether that be through music, retreats, and alternative medicine. But there still is a lot of work to do.
Okay, and what are some particular mental health challenges that Black women face?
Well, to start, one is the thought that Black women are strong, the backbone of our community, which is true in a lot of ways, but because of this thought, many women push down their own feelings in order to take care and help others. So others always come first, whether that be the children, the husbands, the boyfriends, the parents, friends, work, all of that, all of the woman's needs go without attention. And it affects our bodies physically because we ignore our health. So we don't go to the doctor. We may have something that's wrong with us and we don't address it or talk about it. We kind of just, brush it aside and put it to the side. Then our mental health is never cared for because we don't take care or take the time out to sort out the emotions or our goals or true passions. And spiritually, because some women never truly know themselves or what they need in their life, not necessarily want, but what they actually need. And all of this equates to not living your true life.
Okay, good morning, Alex. This is Miss B. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I just want to jump in here and thank you as a young millennial woman for joining us this morning in the Steelpan Vice Spotlight. And to our listeners who just joined us, we are speaking in the Spotlight with Alexandra Ducksworth. She is a music student at Florida Memorial University, and we're talking about mental health, African history, and things that affect us, things in our community. And she mentioned, as women, you don't have to jump in and talk about women too. I mean, Dwayne is doing the interview, but Miss B got to jump in a little bit, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. And you talk about us leaving ourselves behind for our families and not paying attention to our physical health and mental health as well, right? You want to give us some examples of things that you've observed as a young person? You don't have to be a mental health professional to know that we have problems in our community, and they've been increasing. So how do you see that in your community? What things should we be looking at?
Well, I mean, I witnessed a lot of women. I've witnessed a lot of women actually growing up, whether it be in the community, at home, at church, going to my mother's job and seeing all the other women there. There's a lot of people who they tend to not necessarily take care of themselves, and they seem and they appear and they think that they're taking care of themselves. So they think by, getting sleep or, getting something to eat every now and again is taking care of themselves. But truly, you have to take the time out to actually, take care of yourself, sit down, do something you enjoy. If you're caught up with work and, payroll and the kids and, making sure your husband's good and work's good, you never really take the time to, do things for yourself. So, you deal with weight gain and you deal with hair loss and a lot of stress, and you get, diabetes and your high cholesterol, and those things start to come in because we, set our own needs aside for other people. We have to make sure that we take care of ourselves.
That's very true. So what in your experience made you take a look at these things about a woman in terms of taking care of ourselves? What brought that to your attention?
Well, being in college and living in a dorm on campus, it kind of brought a lot of these things to light. You're in a transition between being, a teenager to being a young woman to being a woman. And you start to notice how different people, women especially, deal with that and take care of themselves in that transition. So I was witnessing, a lot of women not necessarily taking care of themselves, and you see it. You see these women go through these 4 years, however long it may take you in college, and you'll see them come in freshman year and kind of the things that they go through, and those mental things start to take a toll on them physically. So you'll see, you'll see the hair loss, you'll see the weight gain, you'll see stress, you'll see people looking tired and not, dressing the way they used to dress anymore, and not necessarily taking care of themselves, and they're sad all the time, or they just stop hanging out with their friends altogether. So being in that environment kind of, put me in an incubator of being able to witness how women of different age groups kind of handle that shift in these different situations in life, me especially. So I know I dealt with it myself going through college. It's difficult, but it just depends on how you handle it.
I see. So before I hand you back over to Dwayne, what would you like to tell listeners in terms of the women out there listening and taking care of their health? Taking care of their health. What message would you like them to take away?
Well, I would like to let them know that, you're not alone. You're not alone. There's hundreds of thousands of women out there, if not millions, that are going through similar situations, going through the same thing. And, you have to make sure that you live your life for yourself. You need to find the things in life that make you genuinely happy, but make sure that happiness is found in your passions, not in people. People always let you down, but your passions, those are what you truly will fight for in life. Regardless of where you come from or what situation you may find yourself in, where there's a will, there's a way. And there's always a way to what you truly want in life.
Wow. That's profound. Little Miss Alex, that's really profound.
Thank you.
Okay, Alex, do you think there's a connection between the mental health challenges that Black people face and the lack of understanding of our history?
Yes, there's always a connection. There's always a connection. Knowledge is wealth. With knowledge, you know thyself. If all you ever learn in school is, we somehow were enslaved, got free, marched for civil rights, and then years later Obama became president, you're bound to have some issues in life. So knowing you are more than just a short chapter in a textbook, but yet you're from dynasties of great rulers and men and women who are great leaders and minds will wake you up, if not shake you, that you were destined for more. You're more than all of that. So you're more than your coping mechanisms. You're more than fast money. You're more than what's going on right now in your life.
Okay, now, as a musician, in what ways do you think music can be used to address some of the issues that you've been discussing?
Well, personally, for me, music has been kind of therapeutic throughout my whole life. So I know for others it's similar. It's kind of an scapegoat sometimes when it comes to certain situations in life. So music has been found through studies to actually, help when it comes to mental health. So whether it be, white noise or, your favorite song that you grew up with, plus music has, certain memories connected to it as well. So even if it was a song that you used to listen to as a child, later on in life, if it comes on, you know that song, and it kind of takes you back to those moments. So music is therapeutic for a lot of people, and it's important, that we use it as such. It's been used in our culture for over hundreds of years in ceremonies or whatever the case may be. So, of course, it's going to still be ceremonial for us and ritualistic for us to use in those ways to help us throughout our lives.
Okay, now, coming back to the issue of mental health in the community, what are some of the things that you think elders in the community can do to help young people address these issues?
Well, first, try not to sweep it under the rug. I know a lot of us usually in the Black community, we like to sweep things under the rug, kind of, make sure that we don't let other people see that issues are going on in the family, whatever the case may be. But, everyone is dealing with something. So no matter what age they may be, including the elders themselves, because you just may not know it consciously, everybody has something that they're dealing with. So secondly, try to make sure that you speak to them on a common ground or take them to someone who they feel comfortable speaking to. So some people don't do well with pressure, so you just have to make sure that you address it, but give them time. There's no time frame for healing, and some can take, a week, some can take months, and others can take years to do that work in order to get to where they need to be. So, but just let them find an outlet that lets them feel and sort through their emotions. So that can either be through art, it can be through athletics, it can be music, it can be meditation, or it can even be like a bike ride in the evening. The list goes on to the things that you can do that, can help that person kind of work through the things that they're going through. But definitely make sure that you give them time.
Okay, before we get to our last question, is there anything else that you would like to let the listeners know?
Oh, well, I would like to let everyone know, make sure that you find something in your life that you truly, you love to do. So just make sure that that one thing that you love to do, you can keep that for yourself. You don't necessarily have to do a lot of things with other people, but make sure you have that one thing that you have for yourself that truly makes you happy, that's your happy place. Because that's the place that you're going to go to in the times that you really need it. So whether it be something going on in your life or, you're just trying to process some information, just make sure you have that one thing that you have for yourself that you can go to in order to kind of sit and kind of process and think and kind of work out those things for yourself.
Okay, and our final question for this interview is related to the Steelpan.
But it's the world's first electronic synthesized Steelpan. But his invention was actually created out of necessity when he was traveling around, and he's actually from Trinidad and Tobago. So he was a part of a band, and he was, trying to do recording sessions. But he found that the acoustics of the Steelpan was never genuinely caught on recording. So out of necessity, he actually started to invent an electronic, Steelpan. So basically, it's a Steelpan that you don't need any plugins to. It's just a Steelpan that you set up. And it already has built-in speakers, and you can change the tones of it. And he has made sure that it is patented. So that is definitely my fact for today.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex. We appreciate, you sharing your perspective on African history and culture and mental health in our community, on our roles as, elders and young people and what we should be doing. This is, we'd like to have you come in the studio. So we talk about that off the air.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay, but we definitely appreciate hearing from young people and some of the concerns that they have and so on. So our listeners, I know they're going to pick up on that and step it up in terms of how we treat and listen to what young people have to say. Treat them with that respect.
Definitely. We have a lot to say. We're not just young kids. We have a lot of opinions and we have a lot of work to do, and we can do the work. So definitely don't overlook us. Very good.
Very good. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, folks. That was Asa. That's a young millennial lady talking about some serious issues. Yeah. Tell me one thing you learned from that. All right, think about it. Come back to you. In the meantime, you have it?
I mean, she really,
what?
Like she took the whole book, like she wrote it all over again. She flipped it over and she made everybody know that, you know what I'm saying, there's a foreword, you know what I'm saying, there's a dedication. Like she really like she made the book into a magazine after that, and then everybody forgot that the magazine was a book in the first place.
Okay, you see, there goes Asa. She did an excellent job. What do you think?
Dwayne? Yeah, I agreed. Excellent job.
Yes, she really did. She brought it home. Okay, folks, well, we're going to give you the last word right now. And the last word is on the Steelpan genre we call pan jazz. And it comes from New York-based jazz panist Garvin Blake. And this is what he says. To me, pan jazz is a loosely used term which has a nice ring to it. Pan and jazz are incredibly versatile art forms, and either can be used in many musical settings. However, I believe jazz provides pan players a unique vehicle for spontaneous creation. This is very different from the well-rehearsed, end quote. Asa?
Well, taking us home from Brooklyn, New York, jazz panist Garvin Blake with a jazz standard, Body and Soul, from the album Parallel Overtones.
Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, be encouraged, have a safe, enjoyable July 4th holiday. May God bless you all.